Hollywood's mass exodus. Let me share this from Variety, Alan. This is maybe the third story, who knows, fourth, fifth we've done, where they're saying why film and TV production is fleeing LA and what could be done about it. And it's yet another comparison to Detroit and what happened to Detroit. Do you have notes for this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, let's get through the story here. And I'll leave this image from the new reboot of Baywatch up on screen for everyone. This is the graphic they chose to accompany this story.
Yeah. When Fox brought Baywatch back to Los Angeles in 2026, California celebrated as a win for the local entertainment industry. Governor Gavin Newsom highlighted the show's return, backed by $21 million in state incentives. However, the production quickly ran into permitting and regulation issues. Officials restricted overnight parking, vehicle access, and other beach activities that the production considered essential. The situation became politically sensitive because losing Baywatch would have symbolized Hollywood's ongoing decline. Los Angeles, still the world's deepest pool of filmmaking talent and infrastructure, but it has become increasingly difficult to compete. Key challenges include higher labor costs, expensive living costs, complex union agreements, regulatory hurdles, less generous tax incentives than competing regions. Since the streaming boom ended in 2022, U.S. has lost roughly 73,000 production jobs, and LA accounting for more than 2/3 of those losses. California's tax credit program has expanded, but many industry leaders say it still lags behind competitors. Producer Charles Rovin says California's rebate is one of the least beneficial for anyone who is financing motion pictures and television. Many major projects that would have once been filmed in California are now shooting elsewhere, including reboots of The Rockford Files, Little House on the Prairie, and Scrubs. Even large studio films are increasingly being made in places like the UK, Canada, and Australia because of generous subsidies. Industry leaders and politicians are now pushing for a federal film tax credit to help America compete internationally. Supporters argue that Hollywood faces the same kind of economic pressure that affected U.S. manufacturing, warning that more jobs will leave the country without action.
Well, let me just say that Roger Avery had something to say about this on X, and he just simply spells it out. Let me bring this on screen. I'll read it to you. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Sorry about that, Alan. Let me find that. It's he basically, everyone's talking about how like Hollywood's become Detroit. And here's what he says. Since Detroit is the analog, these are the three top reasons for the collapse of Detroit industry, which is the auto industry. Number one, intense global competition and failure to adapt. Number two, decentralization of auto production. Plants moved away. And number three, labor costs, union relations, and mismanagement. That is why Detroit is no longer the center of the auto industry in the world. And these same three reasons are why Hollywood is failing: competition, decentralization, and labor costs. Those are, he pinpointed it. So I want to keep those up there. I want to hear what you have to say, Alan. Your comment.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with it. My biggest bugaboo here is the incentives program. Look, incentives are basically tax dollars going to movie and television productions to help pay for costs. And what are those costs? Those are unions, those are actors, those are city and state regulations. So you're basically taking tax dollars and giving it to unions and giving it to regulators, and that is the wrong problem. I will submit this to you. I think LA and Hollywood would do great if you just reduced the amount of regulations and restrictions that it takes to film in Los Angeles, and also if you've got to do something about the unions. They just can't show up and have their hands out and want more money. It's the cost structure, especially for labor, is just unreasonable at this point. And the question is are you going to make it harder for are you going to increase the cost of labor, hoping that will encourage people to come back? You've got to come back to something more reasonable, to allow people to stay in Los Angeles and be able to earn a living. And unfortunately, that means they're going to earn less. But I would submit that it's better to have a job that pays less than no job that pays more.
But look, I'm from Detroit. I saw when I left in 1989 to come here, the industry was a shell of what it was. And even when I was in college at the time, in the early 80s, it was sad. I never really saw Detroit in its glory days. And all I saw was the slow moving decline of the city. It's now gone through a renaissance recently, but it took decades.
Yeah.
To turn
the
around.
Frog in the kettle. You just saw it slowly killing the frog.
Yes. It was disheartening. My dad worked for Chrysler. He worked for Chrysler in the computer department, and he worked with like most kids, I never understood exactly what my dad did, but it worked with computers for Chrysler. And it was always, what round of layoffs? Am I going to be a part of this round of layoffs? We're going to do this. And then they got bought and he was out of a job. But I just saw it happen. It's happening now in real time, much faster in Hollywood. And
and everyone sees it and everyone knows the answer. The fact that people are on this federal incentives and state incentives bandwagon, I think is the wrong way to go. Look,
exactly.
If you made it easier, if the city of LA just decided hell with regulations and they bent over backwards to say that there is a value to having movies and televisions being shot in Los Angeles, and that they would do whatever it took to attract businesses here, even if it meant less money. And this is the thing that the liberal leaders of LA don't understand. You make more money if you allow people to generate more money, because you can tax off of the revenues. You'll make money off of people buying more things, going to restaurants,
right,
and so on. But right now the feeling is, no, we got to continue to tax and we got to continue to overburden. The article says supporters argue that Hollywood faces the same kind of economic pressures that affected the U.S. auto industry. Thing is, we didn't give money to the auto industry. We just made it easier to build plants again. We put them in states that had better pay rates for people who were doing this. You brought construction jobs back. I mean, that's how you make it all. But look, I don't think you need an incentive program, because I think there's such a prestige in shooting in Los Angeles that people would be willing to pay a premium price, as long as it's a reasonable premium price to shoot in Los Angeles. The fact that Scrubs had to move to Canada and all their shooting is in a damn warehouse, or the original Scrubs set was a rundown hospital. Yeah. And the fact that you can't, that's more expensive than shipping everybody to Canada to do that is mind-boggling to me.
Now what this is, because we see these stories about every 3 months. The same story gets written. It must be very popular. It's clickbait. It's doom and gloom. It's Chicken Little, the sky is falling. But what Hollywood has to reckon with now is the reality. It's never coming back. I mean, in Detroit, it never came back. Detroit had to find other ways to revitalize itself economically. So, Hollywood is still grappling with, it's the old Hollywood that you love, that you were constantly working. You were turning down gigs to have the luxury of picking the gig you wanted. That's gone. It's gone and over. So now what is the new reality? And where is this? Where are people going to flow? And I don't believe government incentives are the way. I think the way is looking at audiences and being smarter about delivering what audiences want. Maybe a Supergirl movie where she smiles. Who knows? Maybe and you can also you can make all kinds of different content where you scale the content for the size of the audience. And Hollywood needs to learn. Hollywood will never learn. And so I kind of feel like it's a constant doom loop of reading the same story every 3 months. And we're stuck in it.
I know. And the stories are just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
Hey, let's start a Marvel fan war. Will Hulk show up in Avengers Doomsday? Where was the Ruffalo chair? Right now, Kalshi's prediction market is tracking that question right now. On the one hand, Hulk feels like a natural fit for Doomsday as he's still an active member of the Avengers. Or will his appearance in Spider-Man Brand New Day make Doomsday a logical no-brainer? But not so fast. We are talking about Disney Marvel here. With so many heroes, maybe Doomsday will focus on newer ones instead and save Ruffalo for whatever's left after Secret Wars. What's interesting is that Kalshi's prediction market provides a real-time snapshot of current expectations. Check the odds for yourself and see if you agree with the crowd. Click our link in the description or use the code FILMTHREAT to check out the Avengers/Hulk market and get $10 when you trade $10. As for me, I think Hulk shows up. I have a hard time believing that where 2 or more Avengers are gathered, Mark Ruffalo won't be there to cash in a paycheck and save his buddy Thor. Do you think Hulk is going to show up in Avengers Doomsday? Or is Marvel saving the giant green surprise for later?